scholars, welcome back to Core Knowledge with Mrs. Jackson. Yesterday you went over recycle, recycle, recycle with Miss Bach. Today's lesson is all about composting. So lesson 6, composting. So we're going to start with our core vocabulary. Compost, a mixture of decaying foods and other natural things like leaves and grass clippings that eventually turn into soil. Leftovers, uneaten food that remains after a meal. Nutrients, things needed by living things to grow and stay healthy, such as vitamins and minerals. So that's what we need. We need lots of vitamins and minerals to stay happy and healthy and process. A series of steps taken to do something. Earth here. Once again, I have asked an artist friend of mine to help teach you an important lesson. She drew a picture of me covered with all different kinds of plants and vegetables. So check it out. See all different kinds of plants and vegetables as the continents. Why? This will help remind you that you get everything you need in order to thrive and survive from me, good old Earth. Even if you don't live on a farm, you still can make a little vegetable garden or grow a few potted plants, whether you want to grow flowers, vegetables, or both. You probably know that vegetables are very good for your body, and there's nothing healthier than a vegetable that you grow in your own garden. Plus, gardens are good for the earth. They provide food for bees and other animals. Do you remember when we talked about natural resources and trees? We talked about how trees take in the dirty air and then put out fresh, clean air afterwards. Gardens also help to keep the air a little cleaner and the earth a little prettier. Today, I want to tell you about a special kind of recycling that is good for you and for your garden. And of course, it's good for good old Earth. Once again, my artist friend has made some pictures to go along with the story I'm about to tell. Okay? So, here's the Smiths. As you can see, the Smiths prepared a dinner of spaghetti, bread, and salad. So we see the spaghetti, we see the bread, we see the salad. They made a lot of spaghetti and salad, so they'll have some leftovers. Mrs. Smith will put the leftovers in reusable containers and then into the refrigerator for lunch or snack the next day. But some of the leftovers can't be eaten. What will the Smiths do with these leftovers? They have a cleanup plan that is friendly to the earth and good for their garden. It's Mr. Smith's job to clear the table. He puts the trash into the garbage can and he scrapes the bits of spaghetti, tomato sauce, and salad into a small pail. So he throws the trash away, and now he's using his plate and his fork and he's scraping in all of the little bits and pieces left from dinner. The youngest Smith child, right here, Jamie, adds the vegetable scraps left over from making the salad, such as carrots, cucumber peelings, celery leaves, and loose pieces of lettuce. Jamie could throw those into the garbage, but instead he puts them into the pail. This leftover food will not end up in the landfill. But do you have an idea of what will happen to it? Jamie's brother, Chris, takes the container outside and dumps it into a large bin. What's going on here? Is Chris making leftover soup outside? Ew. Do the Smiths love their leftover food scraps so much that they keep a pile of it in their backyard? Actually, the answer is yes. The Smiths do love their leftover scraps. They love them, okay? You see, the Smiths know that if they put the food scraps in the bin to make a compost, they will be rewarded in at least 2 ways. First, they won't have to send as much garbage to the dump. And second, if they keep adding to their compost pile and still take good care of it, they will end up with a pile of soil full of nutrients. And remember, nutrients are important for plants to grow. They're important for people to grow for the garden. Okay? So the soil that comes from the composting is called compost. And it is very, very good for those plants. So any plants in your garden, whether they're vegetables or fruits, or if they're just flowers, that compost is going to make them grow very quickly and very big and very healthy because it is good for them. Compost is full of nutrients that make plants grow stronger and healthier. The Smiths are careful to only add materials that are good for the compost. So they only add things that are good for the compost. They don't add meats or oily foods like butter. These kinds of foods can make the compost smell bad and attract rodents or mice or other pests to the compost bin. Rotten fruits and vegetables, including leftover jack-o'-lanterns and eggshells and coffee grounds, are perfect for composting. So if you have a mom or dad at home that drinks a lot of coffee, you can take those coffee grounds and make a compost with it. The Smiths also add leaves, grass clippings, and other stuff from the yard that they can mix in with their leftover food. Every week or so, the Smiths stir the compost around with a rake or a pitchfork. When it's particularly dry, they water the pile with a gardening hose. The sun begins to shine and the pile will heat up. The heat and moisture make the materials in the compost bin break down even faster. So all those different scraps, so banana peels and orange peels and lettuce leaves and all these things, maybe some extra carrot pieces and some coffee grounds, eggshells, those are all going to be in the compost together and making that amazing soil to help your fruits and vegetables and flowers grow happy and healthy. Worms are nature's own recyclers. So some people will add worms to their compost bins to help with the composting. After a few weeks, the food in the compost bin won't look like food anymore. It'll look like nice, rich soil. When the compost is ready, Mrs. Smith scoops a shovel from the bin. She puts the compost around a new tomato plant she has planted in her garden. So she's using that compost in her garden just like she's supposed to. The roots of the tomato plant begin to take in water and food from the composted soil. Soon the plant will grow strong and healthy, thanks in part to the nutrients of the compost. A couple of months later, the tomato plant is big and healthy and full of red tomatoes. Jamie helps his mom pick some of the tomatoes apart. And what do you suppose happens next? What happens next is that those Smiths use those tomatoes to make their salad. And what do you think they do with the leftover salad? They toss it into the compost pile, of course, and so the process can begin all over again. So that is another form of recycling, is composting. Okay, so here are our comprehension questions. What is the main topic of this read aloud? Why are plants important? What is composting? Name a few things you can compost. Name a few things that you should not compost. Why shouldn't you compost meats and oils? Why is compost good for gardens? Describe the process of composting. Now, you guys have this paper right here in your packets, and behind it you also have this paper. You are going to cut out these pictures that represent composting, and you're going to put them in order on your paper. So you're going to look at these pictures, you're going to cut them out, you're going to glue them in order of how to compost. Okay? I love you, boys and girls.